Welcome to episode number 61 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. As always, with me, my co-host, at Junkwax Twin, Stefan Loeffler, at our Trading Cards, Ben Wilson. I'm at Big Shep 79, Tim Shepler. We are a podcast by collectors for collectors, and we hope to bring you a smart and insightful podcast discussing trading card collecting. We're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m., 10 Central. You can always find us on YouTube. We're on Facebook, and we're also on Periscope. So if you're checking us out on all those platforms, we appreciate it, and thank you very much. You can always follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. We're available on all podcast forms. And, you have iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Overcast, TuneIn. Wherever you listen to a podcast, you're probably going to find us. And check out the website, aboutthecards.wordpress.com. And we had breaking news today. Brian Flynn, who is he's a freelance writer, is doing some reviews for our page. So we reached out looking to have some folks do some reviews, and he was one of two folks we spoke with. And you got a review in today on a Heritage High number, and it's out there and on the website, so check it out. What's up, fellas? How are we doing tonight?
Another fun night.
Yeah. Ben's been busy. Ben just snuck in.
I did. I had back to school night. You know how that goes, where you have to sit there and sit in little tiny chairs. My girth doesn't really sit well.
Hey.
Yeah,
family show.
Hey. So yeah, we got to sit there and listen to the teacher, and then got to talking to my wife as we were heading to the car, and I'm like, shoot, I gotta go. Yeah, I felt like Marty McFly. I'm late for school.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have you here. Guys, if you noticed tonight, I'm wearing our T-shirt About the Cards. We made these up for when we went to the National, and then some people reached out. I know that Once a Cub, Matt reached out and said that he's wearing a shirt as he's watching tonight, like wearing a jersey on game day. We appreciate that, Matt. And you can find us. We have a shop now on Spreadshirt.com. So, Steph, can you share out that link with everybody so they can check that out and find us? It's a pretty reasonable cost. I think shipping was like $3 when you buy a shirt. So I think we try to keep it under, I think $25. It's under $25 for the shirt, and then with the shipping. So completely, it's under 30, and we try to keep the cost low. And there's also mugs. There's women's shirts. There's tote bags. So if you want to take it to the card game or to the card show, you're able to do that. So check it out. Let us know what you think, and a little way to support us to help us do some more things for the show. We do truly appreciate it. So, but we're going to hop into it. The week that was last week's releases, and we'll get to it. We had two weeks of Topps Living, because last week we didn't have the numbers for week 74, which was card 220 Dansby Swanson of the Braves, just over 6,200 or 2,600. Our boy Beans guy, card 221, John Means, the rookie pitcher from the Orioles, just almost 2,500 cards there. And then he was last and worst card until, this last week. And then card 222, Joey Gallo from the Rangers, sold one shy of 2,500 cards. I know Beans said he bought, 12? So he really helped that number. And I bought one. So, there's 13 right there. And without us, he might have been dead last still this week. Topps Living week 75, card 223, Vlad Guerrero, the Hall of Famer, 8 short of 3,000. Card 224, Spencer Turnbull, the rookie pitcher from the Tigers, 2,200. And Max Kepler, 2,400. I apologize, 2,400. Max Kepler, some scrub outfielder for the Twins, sold just over 2,500. And Spencer Turnbull by, what was that? 16 cards, beat out John Means for last place in the Topps Living set. So you remember we were talking about Nick Markakis all the time. These two guys are just battling out the bottom there.
Yeah, but this is kind of the new. We were talking about with Topps Living Stat today on Twitter. This is what the set is. It's trending down. It's not going to pick up any steam when you have veterans, Hall of Famers, guys like Guerrero, who if you bought Vlad Jr., wouldn't you want Senior to go with him? He was an expo, which we mentioned last week. For him not to even crack 3,000, it just shows that's what this is. But it's really a reflection and indicative of the hobby as a whole. There's just no attention span. They've all moved on collectively. I mean, collectors are on to the next. Oh, look, hey, the color purple and a butterfly. We're on to other stuff. There are some of us that are collecting still, whether it be favorite players or teams. I'm staying true to about a third of the set overall. But I think most people have moved on. And, Topps Living Stat had brought up an interesting point that they've only made 28 legends so far, including some teams, not including, the Milwaukee Braves and the Brooklyn Dodgers, but the Dodgers, the Braves, the Giants, the Orioles, the Reds haven't had legends.
The one Royals legend was Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
And he played like 3 years there or 4 years there.
Yeah.
So where, and like I said earlier on Twitter, where is George Brett?
Well, and that's the thing is they're only made 28. I didn't realize that was as few as they had made. And there's a lot of big teams that have so many to choose from, like, say, the San Francisco Giants, the other team that you like to collect.
Yeah.
You're telling me they couldn't have squeezed Willie McCovey in when he passed away a few months back, or, obviously Mays being the big one, but Marichal. I mean, just start thinking of all the names. Are they going to do Will Clark when the Giants retire his number?
They should.
This is what the set is going to be. When we start to look at the Star Wars numbers, those being in the low 1000s, at some point, some of these baseball players are going to start to get in there as well. But the idea is they're still planning on doing this for the foreseeable future. And when we say that, we're talking 3-4 years down the line. If this podcast is still alive and well, we'll still be talking about it.
Yeah, and I hope so. Steph, were you disappointed with Kepler?
No, I mean, I got my one. That's all that matters for me. I mean, they could sell 3. But speaking to your George Brett addiction, if you share my screen, it might give you some insight.
Yeah, no, I tweeted out, I responded back, hey, George. And real quick, why aren't you following George Brett?
Because he never played for the Twins.
Because we want to follow like real third baseman, like top 5 third baseman, not number 17.
Yeah, like Miguel Sano.
Yeah. Anyway, last week, so always check out at Topps Living Stat for full breakdown of where these cards fall respectively in the set by team and by position. He does a wonderful job, and we appreciate it. Also, last week, 2019 Topps Heritage High number came out. Like I said before, Brian Flynn knocked out an awesome review of the product. 2019 Bowman Sterling Baseball dropped, as well as 2019 Panini Unparalleled Football. We'll hop into hot off the presses this week's releases, the new releases. Topps Living Week 76, card 226, Marcus Stroman, pitcher, New York Mets. So the longtime Blue Jay gets, I think, probably his first Mets card, right? If I'm not mistaken there. Card 227, Chris Paddock, the rookie pitcher from the Padres. And card 228, home run hitting, Jose Soler, outfielder, Kansas City Royals. So we finally got another Royal. It's been a while. I think the last one we had was Ryan O'Hearn, and he was the first rookie of the 2019 release. So, yeah, it's been a minute. It'd
be nice if you knew how to spell his name.
Well, I'm sorry, I was typing quickly because I have to sneak this in when I'm at work. So, guys, what do you think of this week? I like Paddock. He's going to be, I think, one of those guys in San Diego that's going to help the rebuild, and they're going to be a scary team here in the next year or two with all the guys they have and who's coming up. But, Jorge can only hit home runs, and the Royals are pretty terrible. Stroman's on the new team, but he grew up a Mets fan, so that's pretty exciting.
It's an all right week. 8,000. Stroman not as a Blue Jay. Come on. Yeah, that's the problem with this set. And then, for me, I'm going to sit this week out because none of these guys particularly strike an interest for me. But it's not a bad week. You've got a veteran pitcher, an all-star. You got Paddock, who could definitely be a potential all-star someday. Mm-hmm. And then you've got Soler, who, and it's a good-looking card. So, I think Soler probably is the third of this group next week, but
yeah,
hey.
No, that's fine. I'll buy a couple. So
go grab all your Topps Living cards from and Star Wars Living from Topps Living Stat on Twitter if you're not already buying from him.
Good to know. So yeah, an exciting release. 2019 Topps Archives Baseball dropped today. $94 a box, 24 packs per box, 8 cards per pack. You're going to get 2 autos, the fan favorite autos, and then our majority of the autographs. But I watched some breaks and saw some different ones. You're going to get a 330 card base set. The first 100 are the 1958 design. The second 100, 1975 design. The third 100, so 201 through 300 are 93. And then there's the last 30 are 3 subsets from each of those years, and to build up the set. So you're gonna have like I think 93 was the 93 rookie, or it was the 93 rookie cards like Jeter's with the infield, the green background, the infield. The 75 was a highlight one, and the 58, and I think that was, I don't remember what the 58 subset was. They also have Expos, the 50th anniversary of the Expos, which is pretty cool. They're going to have 21 autographs of those guys, plus they're going to have their own insert set. And 1975 Topps Mini, which is stating being very limited, are available for 100 players. And I watched a case break with Mojo, and I think I saw them open like 4 or 5 boxes, and they pulled 1 mini out of those first few boxes. I didn't finish to watch the break, but there's that. And then per Night Owl card on Twitter, the designs they've yet to use: 52, 55, 56, 61 through 69. So they haven't used any of the 60s except for 1960. They haven't used 70, 74, 78, 87, 88, or anything after 1994. So 93 is the newest card they've ever used in the Archives product, and they've reused a couple years, I believe. So
the problem with this, there's a couple issues with this. One, Archives now has the 75 minis. You're bastardizing Heritage. In a couple of years, we're going to have Heritage. It's already on 70, right? So in another 5 years, we're going to have another run of Topps minis in the hobby. What's funny is our friend Ryan Cracknell had said this. I made this exact point last year. When we had the issue with Archives where retail came out and then like 2 months later they released hobby.
Yeah, we were 3. It was a long time.
Yeah, it was a long time. And we thought maybe that was a precursor to this year's being just retail only. And I said what the hobby should see, what Topps should do, let's make Archives a retail exclusive. Take Topps Fire and revamp it, redesign it a little bit, make it a little bit more hobby friendly, and release that in Archives place on the hobby side. Maybe that was just the fan of Fire in me, but Ryan said that just an hour or two ago in response to a conversation a few of us were having on Twitter about Archives. This is a tired product. Now that Heritage is in the 70s,
it needs to stop.
Either you're going to have to take Archives back to the 50s where, it's been 15, 20 years since Heritage has had those. I mean, Archives, they really, what I would like to see is maybe even a hybrid of Archives and Fire, where you have like maybe the fan favorites in Fire. Maybe that's asking a little bit too much, going off the reservation there a little bit too much, but it might be interesting.
Well, it's gonna be like our next project we're gonna talk about. Steph, how do you feel? Like I liked Archives in 12.
Sure.
I'm over it now. Watching this break, and I mean, I liked it because the past couple years they always had like they had Sandlot autos last year. They've had they did Major League. They had Bull Durham. Those were cool, but to me, it's lost a lot of its luster, and it's going to take, like Ben said, Heritage away. But what are your feelings on Archives this year?
I think it would be better if they didn't release it year to year to year to year to year. If they just slipped it in every now and then.
Ooh,
and that's what she said. And just occasionally dropped it, because the issue that you're running into is that, you said that Night Owl indicated that they haven't used yet. Well, those are all the years that Heritage has recently used. So you're not going to see 1970 Topps design in this set because you already have it with Heritage. You're probably not going to see it next year because it was the previous this current year. Heritage.
Yeah.
So, and we don't need any more 52 Topps designs, 53 with living. We already have those.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we're there, skip every now and then and drop, 87, 65, 72. And then wait a few years and then do it again. Kind of like they did in the early 90s where they had, 1 or 2 years or they had a reprint set and then they waited a few years and then dropped it.
Yeah.
And then brought it back as Topps all-time fan favorites. And then it disappeared until 12, 13, somewhere in there.
It's to me, it's just it's lost a little bit of its luster. So
you can ask this question before we move on, and I know you can ask it of a lot of products, but do we need archives anymore? Does the hobby we need heritage, we need flagship, we need Ginter, we need a lot of these, even if it's not your flavor. The hobby needs Bowman Chrome and things, all of these, right? Come on. Archives is tired and it's being propped up, or it's helping to prop up Archive signature, which we know we all hate. So just do away with the whole Archives line or use it as an insert moving forward, because I don't want to lose the Archives fan favorite autos. They're phenomenal. And this year the A's have Rick Honeycutt, and I'm definitely looking forward to grabbing one of those.
Yeah.
For Kevin Tapani.
It's Tapani.
Oh, and also don't do away with Archives until you have a Julio Franco, preferably an Indians uniform. Please, Topps, if you're listening.
Phillies uniform.
No, Daddy needs a Julio Franco.
2019
Indians.
2019 Panini Chronicles baseball dropped today. $100 a box, 6 packs per box, 8 cards per pack. You'll receive 3 autos, a mem, 3 autos, 1 mem card, and you'll also receive 2 Spectra base cards. It's a 50 card base set for the Chronicles, but there are 19 products in total. So this product delivers a lot of the company's brands that don't have their own release, and it includes some new brands that have never seen the light of day. So hold on, guys. I'm going to go through them all. Here's all 19. There'll be a test at the end of the show. Absolute, America's Pastime, Ascension, Certified, Contenders, Optic, Cornerstone, Crusade, Don Russ, Hometown Heroes, Limited, Obsidian Baseball, first time they've had baseball, Playoff, Prime, Rookies and Stars, Score, Spectra, Timeless Treasures, Titan. That's the first ever release. So the Score ones are pretty cool because they're the caricature cards that I love from when I was a kid, but everybody on them looks like they're on steroids. So Steph, can you pull up click on Score on Ryan's Cracknell's great checklist? They don't look as good as the old ones, but that's just me.
Well, no, and there's certainly not any of these or anything.
No. Look at that. That's just pornography right there on the screen.
Borderline Hall of Famer there.
Borderline second best twin center fielder. After Byron, it's Byron Buxton, and then it's Torrey Hunter, then Dan Gladden.
Yeah, well, right there. I mean, you're looking at the 3. I mean, Kirby Puckett's the alternate 1. So if somebody gets injured,
you guys are missing Denard Span if you're trying to take
Puckett can play.
Oh, and then hold on. Who's the other guy that was there? Well, Alex Cole, and then Aaron Hicks.
Yeah, so they had a lot of good guys out in that outfield. Kirby Puckett should have been one of them.
So the reason why I take us off topic is this is I hate this. I hate Chronicles. It's just like what it reminds me of is when you're sorting cards and you're trying to say, okay, here's all my Topps flagship, here's all my Stadium Club, here's all my Allen and Ginter, and then you have a bunch of blaster boxes that you opened at one point, and you just bought one blaster of Fire and one blaster of Archives and one blaster of Heritage, and then you go, I don't know what to do with this, and you just throw it all in a box. That's what this is. It's just all the leftover crap they just shoved in a box and said, there we go.
Well, and the worst part, for at least my point of view, is now you have to identify them. Oh. And if you're identifying them, how do you keep track of this Donruss versus base Donruss?
You know what? I'm sure we've all been in a situation maybe in, when we decided to move out on our own or when we were younger and college or heck, even maybe right now where you're at the end of the month, it's the 29th, the 30th, and you literally have no money in your bank account for food. And so you just start throwing stuff. You go to your cabinet, you're like, all right, I got some ramen and I got some sliced cheese and I got one can of tuna. And you're just like, throw it on the counter.
It's chopped. It's the homemade
and then
version
you
of chopped.
Yeah, it's like you just start throwing stuff in a pan and go, this is going to be terrible, but I'm really hungry, so I'm going to just pinch my nose. And man, that's Chronicles. This is horrible. It makes
it's a dump in a box.
It makes archives look good. Speaking of which, real quick, because there was something that I had tweeted about, I believe last year, that our friend Matt Once a Cub reminded me of today, and our friend Nick Wasika just had mentioned it as well.
The great Nick Wasika, by the way.
Fantastic. The legendary who sits alone. Yes. What archives needs to be, this was an idea that I had last year. Stop with the baseball designs. The rule moving forward is you select 3 or 4 designs that are football, basketball, hockey, or non-sports.
Dude, and that's
then
what it needs to be. And then archives would be amazing again.
Yeah,
you have a basketball, you have a football, and you have a hockey.
And a non-sports.
And then you do the insert sets
in non-sports or something.
Or non-sports.
Yeah, and now you have something we literally have never seen before. I tweeted this out last year, and a ton of people are like, "Oh, I'd buy that." I mean, look, our friend Nick just said, "Make the old hockey designs."
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, so
I don't have any of those in my collection because I don't collect hockey. I think it would be cool to have them.
This is what we need to do. You need to put it together an article. We need to really get it out there and have a lot of folks share it. And the article doesn't have to be much. Pick a few you write up the article. I'll grab the designs. I'll put them on there. We'll get it out there. We'll get this publicized because I love that idea. It's amazing. Write this down. Ben had a good idea.
Yes, time and date stamp. It was 8/23. Well, technically, we'd have to go back to the tweet, but
10/23.
If anybody's out there that's listening that wants to be included, maybe we'll have like a change.org type petition. Anybody that likes archives enough to want to see it continue, and you could still put the fan favorites and stuff on. Their autographs. You can still put those on 1990 tops and stuff when they played because it's a throwback to when they played. But I love extrapolating on the Topps Throwback Thursday idea. Maybe even do away with that. They won't. That's
the only problem is, do you currently have an online Topps throwback tweet?
But listen, I ran the numbers for 2018. Only a handful of teams were represented at the top. There were teams that were not represented. The same players got used week after week. There was the A-team one, which I was like, oh, I love that design. Featuring 6 players, all with the last name A. It was like Ronald Acuna and Miguel Andujar and Jake Arrieta. I forget who all was on the checklist, but I was like, going position by position for the A's, like, nope, no catcher, no first, no second, no, dang it, we're not going to get one. I opened it up, of course, we didn't get one. And it's just like, it would be cool for us to see designs that we've never seen as baseball card collectors, since that's what the Archives baseball set is. There you go. I thought that was a phenomenal one. I love how the A bleeds into the last name. Unfortunately, the A's weren't on that checklist, but that's indicative of that whole set.
In their name.
It's always. Yeah, it could have been a Tim photo, but that's the thing is it's always the same 6 dudes almost every week.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Lazy and unoriginal?
By the way, I just want to point out, hey, thank you, StreamYard. You've been a great service for us this last couple weeks. And then now Steph doesn't have a blank space. He has a logo up, so instead of his mug, so or just empty space. So thank you, StreamYard. No, I was really going. I don't know if anybody saw this, and we'll talk about it later. But how there was no checklist for this dumpster fire of a product until like 8 hours before midnight Pacific Coast time. So Yeah.
No, it's almost like we had a poll based around that.
Yeah. No, we're going to talk about that later. 2019 Panini Origins Football dropped today, $112 a box, 1 pack per box, 7 cards per pack, 1 rookie autograph patch card, 1 additional autograph, and 1 jumbo mem or patch card. It's a 140 card base set. It's a rookie heavy checklist. It's the first to offer on-card autographs for the 2019 draft class and their NFL uniforms. There are booklet cards combining multiple signers, the most being the 6-star signature cards. And to me, this is Topps Inception, stolen by Panini. But hey, whatever. It's a good look. And I have a question. So instead of having the 00, so some of the rookies to have the on-card auto did not have jersey numbers picked when they did the photo shoot this early in the spring. Would you rather they used a team logo instead of the 00s on the jersey? Would that be better? Or would you, we'll talk about it later, but it's like you have the on-card autos with 00s or you get a sticker with the jersey number. That's really what happened in this set. Do you have a preference of them having the number and then having to take a sticker, or would you rather have an on-card with 00? And all of these images are from 2018 because Panini couldn't provide new images to the people that are writing for free to advertise their product. So, yeah, that's why you're seeing the rookies of last year's class. Ryan does a really good job, and he noted that in his post.
Now, for me, I think most collectors would agree that anytime you can get something on card, it's preferable because that means, in theory, that the player touched the card, signed it.
Same Dak Prescott.
Yeah, stickers obviously leave a little bit of wiggle room for things, and as we saw with the Jeffrey Dean Morgan auto, personally,
00 and on card or sticker with jersey number.
I would go 00 on card because jersey numbers can change.
But 00 is so it takes away from the card.
So why have it at all then? Why have it at all?
Because like half of the guys are wearing 00.
So, but why have them include that jersey number at all then?
So we'll just have him wearing a blank jersey?
Yeah.
That's why I said, or team logo.
Yeah, I mean, you could do all kinds of things. I mean, it could be something where it's more of a profile shot where you're not really showing it, so that you can avoid that altogether.
Yeah, but most of them look like they're trying to show it off. So
or you could do, yeah. I mean, you could always do black and whites, with the photo and highlight the color behind it. I mean, you could get a little crazy with it, wild and crazy.
Yeah, that is not Plow the Beaver, but that is the squirrel from the Twins, the best player on the Twins team. 2019 Panini National Treasures Collegiate football dropped as well. $450 a box, 1 pack per box, 8 cards. You're going to get 6 auto and or mem cards, 1 base card or parallel, and 1 additional card. It's a 160 card set. Focuses on the college football teams, but has a similar feel as the high-end NT NFL product. Collegiate material signatures are equivalent to the RPAs that are found in NT football. And then the notable nicknames have hard signatures, on card signatures with inscriptions. So like that one that says Simba for Dwayne Haskins. Good look. Yeah, the kid's got a pretty good look on auto and good handwriting, better than what Zion showed. Those guys at Duke. So, but again, just more collegiate stuff in a very high-end tag. So if you're an Alabama guy, or if you're a Ohio State guy, you're gonna get those guys in then their college uniforms, and they get premium for it. So,
or maybe West Virginia.
Yeah. So there's not. So yeah. Got real gear for certain folks. So. Also, 2018-19 Upper Deck Ultimate Collection comes out this week. We talked about this earlier a few weeks back when it was supposed to come out, but we'll hit it again real quick. About $135 a box, 1 pack per box, 4 cards per pack. You're going to get 1 rookie autograph or rookie autograph mem card, 2 additional autographs and or mem cards, and 1 base parallel or ultimate introductions. It's a 98 card base set. All base cards are numbered to 149. That's a high-end product full of autographs, mem, and low-numbered base parallels. The rookies are divided up in 4 levels, each progressively tougher to pull. So, like, Tier 1 is easier than Tier 4. So, as I'm getting into hockey, hey, it's a good-looking set. It's a nice premium product. And, yeah, everything you're going to get is going to be numbered. It's going to be a nice ad if you have a favorite hockey team. And I'm trying to find one. So, if you guys have suggestions, on hockey teams, based on logo alone, I would pick the Edmonton Oilers. It would be the Hartford Whalers if they still existed. So. All right, guys. What's brewing next week's releases? An exciting week next week. 2019 Topps 5-Star Baseball, 2019 Panini Absolute Football, 1819 Panini Immaculate Basketball. So one of the final couple basketball products from last year that'll have Luka and the boys from last year's draft class.
Maybe.
Infield chatter, our hobby talk section. So guys, I want to go for a few things. So I saw the ugliest rainbow ever this week.
George Brett.
Heyo.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting a new co-host. So if you guys want, so this is a C Guyton 613 Chris Guyton on Twitter completed a rainbow. He sent that to Tracy Hackler, and it's Panini points from 150 points to 1500. And for whatever unknown godly reason, he has an 8.5 BGS grade on a 600-point card.
Why would you grade one of those?
I don't know.
Because
And why is it 8.5 of all things?
Because it's probably been scratched off on the back.
this is the greatest rainbow in the history. The troll of this, right? He's trolling Panini so hard that they're literally cards, right? You're telling me that I can use 150 points to trade in for a relic? Instead, hey, you know what? I'm just going to grade and collect the rainbow. Why not? This dude's trolling hard. It's comical. And the fact that it's not our money, we can sit back and laugh because
I know it's just sad, though.
We get to enjoy it. It is. We've talked at nauseum about our thoughts on the Panini points, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And really, what would that monetarily be worth? I know for a while, Blowout, wasn't it, that was buying the points?
Yeah, I sold them 150 points for
what would that be worth?
$4.50.
I mean, he's got that big boy sitting down there for 15,000. I mean, what if you were just buying the points from that? What would that be in money?
Hold on, Steph, go back real quick to show the point numbers all added up and see what they're at.
I'd be really curious because in and of itself, that's kind of, I mean, who knows if he pulled it or if he acquired them, but feasible. No.
What's that? 36,750 points.
How much was Blowout paying at the time?
I think for every 150 was 450. So
a decent coin there.
About $1,100.
Yeah.
36,750. Yeah.
$1,000 bill sitting there.
Yeah. And I get this ugly ass rainbow.
One's graded.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, I just thought it was, and I'd go to that site and try to find cards on there. Well, I sold the points. The XFL revealed their team names and logos for its eight new teams Wednesday. And so it's coming out February 2020. And there's some pretty cool ones. The Dallas Renegades, which I think Bob Stoops is the coach for. The Houston Roughnecks, Los Angeles Wildcats, New York Guardians, St. Louis Battlehawks, Seattle Dragons, Tampa Bay Vipers, and Washington Defenders. Based on logo alone, which team are you backing? You can only go off the logo.
I mean, bias aside, Dallas. I kind of like the Old West theme, and I think they're playing in what was the ballpark in Arlington. I mean, none of them really stand out. None of the eight really stand out.
No, you're wrong. The New York Guardians.
Names are nice.
I just based on my buddies and I were talking about this today. We each picked a team based on logo alone. I picked the Guardians and I tweeted it out, and they tweeted me back. And they were like, yeah, nice pick. And I said, well, now pick a good team. And then Suze from Topps also is a Guardian fan, but she said they should have been called the Thundercats.
See, the problem is these look like the random team logos that you can make in Madden.
That's exactly what we said. Ben, who's your team? So you're
the Roughnecks kind of look like the Houston Oilers.
Yeah,
right?
You're going to be a Roughnecks fan? Instant rivalry with Steph.
No. I was just saying that one's curious. If I was putting them in My third favorite would be the Vipers. My
You
second
get
would
one. You get one.
I'm doing 3-2-1. If you don't notice, we always do 3-2-1.
Not on this. Pick one. There's
Three?
8 teams.
Okay, listen.
Pick one.
I will. 3 Vipers, 2 Dragons, 1. I actually the Dallas logo is probably the best. It's probably the only one that would translate well if it was an NFL logo.
The Guardians. That's a good looking one.
No, that's you.
So last time around, Topps had the license, and Ryan Cracknell wrote a great article about it. I think some time ago. We'll share that. But do you think this will be a hot property in 2020?
Depends who they get in the league, obviously.
Well, they have Landry Jones,
Okay,
great
so like I
Oklahoma
said,
quarterback.
who they get in the league. It's going to be one of those where either it's going to be a one-off like the last time the XFL was around, or what was the Conference America something?
American Legion Football League or whatever that lasted not even a full season.
Yes, exactly. Or it's going to take a few years for the brand and the name and the everything else to get set up.
Yeah, I don't think. I think
the last real competitive successor to the NFL is what? Maybe the CFL.
Well, CFL's been around. No, the USFL had legs, but Donald Trump was an idiot and screwed it all up, and then cost the league was able to be purchased for like $1. So they had a real go at it because they actually could get they were actually getting Heisman Trophy winners. They were getting good college talent to play in the USFL instead of going to the NFL. So yeah, check out Ryan's article. I don't think the league's going to last more than a year or two. I think it happens like last time, and so. So talking to my buddy Ryan Cracknell, he tweeted out a cool card that he wants to see made. The 1989 Fleer Billy Ripken F face card. He wants to remix it to make it the Billy Ripken F Cancer card, the remix. He did a little photoshopping. He got it out there. And it'd be great to see. I mean, right now, currently Upper Deck owns the rights to Fleer. And so I don't know if they would support that, because of the language, but maybe you could star out the Fs. But he changed it up a little bit. It's a good looking card. And if you could make that happen, that would be.
This is one of my favorite ideas I've seen in the hobby in some time. There's so many people that have been affected by cancer. I know that this topic is very near and dear to Ryan's heart. We'll kind of leave it there, but who wouldn't buy one of these? I mean, first off, it's a throwback, so it's just neat for the nostalgia aspect. But if you're telling me you can buy these, and you could even do it where it's like $9.99 a piece, or you can buy 3 for $25. Kind of do like almost like a Topps Living type buy-in, where the more you buy, the cheaper it gets, but encourages you with 50% of all proceeds going to Stand Up to Cancer or other cancer-related charities. Dude, are you telling me that every collector wouldn't want to buy one of these? It's a phenomenal idea, and if Upper Deck is out there, I mean, About the Cards definitely implores them to seriously consider.
Steph showed a tweet where they said now without the Major League's approval, and at the time they don't see this happening. So they did step up a tweet and showed that. So,
but why? Okay, so they would need Major League. What's that?
Why can't we ask?
Yeah, I mean, what would it hurt if Major League Baseball on Topps, because they do have the exclusive license, so the idea would be behind you can't use the Orioles logo or anything licensed, but why couldn't you even crop it a little bit? I mean, the whole idea is really what we want in there is the Billy Ripken photo. That's the image. I mean, yeah, the border and the logos and everything are important, but this is something we strongly support and would love Upper Deck. And if Topps and Major League Baseball would be so kind as to allow, come on, let's make this happen. This would be a phenomenal way for people outside. You're telling me that wouldn't end up on late night shows or daytime shows with popular hosts around the world that are hopping on this? You're telling me that wouldn't get on ESPN?
Sure, definitely.
Darren Ravel wouldn't get behind that?
ESPN ESPN put an article out today about some cards and that, and the original of this card was actually in there.
Get current day Bill Ripken to reenact it.
Yeah, and Rob here in the chat, Rob Sports Card says just make use the pink ribbon logo at the bottom.
Yeah.
So something out there. And so, it's just one of those interesting things I saw this week. At KBO Collections tweeted out, thinking about switching a lot of my cards from top loaders to card savers. Reason? Because I keep my top loader cards in binders, which becomes bulky, and the card savers will cut down on that. What's the opinion? So, guys, top loaders, in general, top loaders are card savers. And for those of you who don't know, the difference with like a card saver, so the card saver is the thin plastic card one, and then a top loader, so a little bit thicker, but similar type protection for your cards. Now, do you guys have a preference real quick on top loaders or card savers?
Top loaders.
Top loaders.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a top loader guy.
There's really no reason for a card saver unless you're sending it off to get graded. That's the whole purpose that they exist.
There's no purpose.
Yeah,
shouldn't be grading cards, right?
When you're holding up, like, say, a valuable Mark McGwire rookie card, and it's in a card saver, and you go to reach into it because there's not very much, thickness. It's really easy to bend such a valuable rookie card, not a first year or extra rookie card. We want to talk about the true rookie card, and we want to save them by putting them in top loaders. I mean, but hey, to each is your own.
Or one touches, Steph, your opinion?
I've actually debated putting some of my cards into a top loader to put them into a binder. And if I have to break them up to more binders, so be it. Just because some of them move around, slide around, and the card savers definitely are cheaper per in the package. However, and that's why I'm moving all of my collection from sleeved and top loaded to binders, just because I find it's easier for me to enjoy my collection by being able to pull the binder off the shelf and flip through it. And putting them to bulky, I mean, by another Billy shelf. I mean, for everyone, but if you have a big enough or an eclectic enough collection, what can you do?
No, yeah, I mean, I love the Billy bookcase from IKEA.
Yeah, I've got like 17 of them in my house.
Right.
So no, I'm not a
color. Or do they color coordinate?
Do they color coordinate, Ben?
No, they don't. I just buy them. Most of them are brown, if we got to be honest. But
Like your underwear.
That blackish brown or just brown?
Well, you would know, Timothy. Anyway, moving on. What's our next topic, Tim?
Ben told me you had a rant about Topps Now, which has me a little concerned. But so I'm going to leave the floor open to you, Ben. What's got you all hot and bothered about Topps Now?
So the other night, the A's were playing the Astros, and my dad and I are watching the game, and he asks me a lot because he's trying to get into the baseball side of the hobby, right? And he's trying to understand. He's a non-sports collector, and obviously a big influence and a financier in my early collection. But he's like, "Oh, how do they decide?" And we're like, "We have no idea. There's probably a lot of East Coast bias with Topps being on the East Coast, and these West Coast games get done tomorrow, so to speak, by the time they're done on the East Coast calendar. And there's no rhyme or reason. A great play today might have one made, and the same play tomorrow won't. We just don't know." And so we're watching this home run fest. Literally, home runs are flying out of the Oakland Coliseum, which just doesn't happen late in the evening on a weekday because of the Bay Area. The density just kind of stops the ball in the outfield. And so the game's over. The A's had won 7-6. And I'm like, there's literally like 5 or 6 Topps Now cards that they can and should make. And I'm thinking, how many are they going to make? 0. Okay, so I'm going to run through a couple of things that I thought that they might make because they've made similar cards in the past. The Oakland A's as a franchise became the 5th AL team in Major League Baseball history to win 9,000 games in franchise history. The 5th. Should they make a card like that to commemorate it?
No.
You don't think so? I mean, isn't that what the whole program is about, to kind of talk about cool things that are happening? Corbin Joseph, career minor leaguer, ends up coming up, hits his first major league home run. Yay, nay?
Should be.
Yeah, it's borderline, and they didn't make one when Bo Taylor, another career minor leaguer, hit one earlier in the year. But again, we're not saying they definitely should, but these are things like, yeah, they might. Matt Chapman hit 4 home runs in less than a 24-hour window. They did make one when Chris Davis did the same thing. So there's a precedence there.
Hey, real quick, by the way, Chris Davis hasn't hit a home run on this month since July 30th.
He hit one in the first or second inning today.
Oh, good. So he's up to like 12 now?
Yeah, he's up to 18. Thank you very much. So Chapman hits 4 in 2 nights. It's borderline, but they've made one before. They made one of an Oakland A this year. 4 guys, each hit 2 home runs. Only the 5th time that's happened in Major League Baseball history. Chapman did it, Olsen did it, Correa did it, and Michael Brantley did it. And then the first time in Major League history, according to what the broadcast had said, 10 home runs were hit in a game. Each of them had hit 5. And so I'm thinking there's 5 cards right there that I just jotted down that they potentially could make. And they did make one about the game. Carlos Correa had hit his 100th career home run.
Yep.
In this day and age, where every player that plays within a 2-year window, 3-year window is going to have a 100 home run card made, everybody can hit 100 home runs now. I mean, now the old 40 is the new 60. I mean, it's not home runs are not impressive anymore. So for a guy to hit 100, I was upset. Saved me money, but there were if you're going to make one of the game, there's plenty more to make. And the bottom line was the A's won the game and still didn't get one, but the Astros lost and they got one. So anyway, I don't understand what this program is for when you're not making cards of Yeah. It goes back to Throwback Thursday. There's only a handful of people that get cards made.
There's only a handful of people I'll let on this podcast. And
dang right.
But I don't think you understand. There's a new Vladimir Guerrero Topps Now that you can buy today.
Yeah, why not? Remember last year when it was Aaron
Judge did the thing.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
2017
sneezed. Topps Now. And we have a sneeze relic.
Yeah,
we have part of the tissue he blew his snot into. At Bud Norm, Bernard Numberg reached out to me. He said, "Hey, at Big Shep 79, have you addressed on your show the codes on the back of cards? Confusing to those who do not know. Thanks." So he and I have DM'd back and forth a little bit. He's getting back into collecting, and a lot of he's pretty active on Twitter. But he wanted to know. So on the back of the cards, what he's talking about is on Topps flagship when they have the short prints. They'll change if it's a short print or a super short print. The last digit or 2 will change, and so it's we're part of the printing process. They know which ones to have short printed and super short printed, and which ones are regular base. But it helps us as collectors to realize, if the image is different, sometimes they're hard to tell. It gives you an identifier, and usually Ryan Cracknell of Beckett Media is the best resource for this when these come out. We try to repeat that information on our show and tweet it out. So, when the flagship's released, Cracknell usually has the image variation catalog going, so you'll be able to share that so you can tell as well. But those numbers are pretty small on the back of the card, so sometimes you need a magnifying glass to see them. But that's what those little codes on the back are for.
Well, and that's the thing, too. They're not even supposed to be used for that. That's just a way that people who are breaking boxes and collectors have found that signifies that, yes, this is different from the regular base. Because if I'm not mistaken, I have to report a certain amount of how many are produced and how many are this for legal purposes. And that's the way that they keep track as far as so many of this one were produced, so many of this one were produced, so many of this one were produced. Well, for our purposes, when you're looking at, 8015 is this set. Well, 8291 is the short print. Yeah. Well, that's a very easy way. What they need to do, they can keep that for their legal purposes, but the easiest way to remedy this for our eyes and for clarity is to do what Heritage did this year, where it has written on the back by the card number, action, or
right the card number.
Color.
They started that last year, I believe, was the first year that they put the action variation. I believe 2018 was the first year we saw that. But yeah, that's super helpful. What's that?
I said they may have started it last year. I just know for sure that they did it this year.
No, that's absolutely huge because, like we said, we brought this up before. That the one from years ago, the Adam Eaton one that was being sold as a throwback jersey variation when it was just a base. It's nice to know, and we've seen Finest, I believe, that they started putting refractor on there. We've mentioned what's the other one that is slipping my mind, the acetate one with all the different designs on it. High
Tech.
Yeah, High Tech. That it would be fantastic if they told you the difference between bubbles and circles. It's very difficult on some of these. So the more that they can help us out, the better, especially when there's a rarity level going on and there's a buyer premium for certain ones. It would be lovely. So seeing that, it's fantastic.
Yeah, no, we love it. So yeah, he's getting back into collecting, and we're trying to get more of this information out to those collectors. We're finding out, last week, we put it out there, and we had a handful of new collectors reach out to us, or new collectors, returning collectors reach out to us about coming on and doing some interviews. So we're going to be working on that to get those folks a little spotlight and talk to them about their journey and how they came back. As we talk about fun, you talk about the Billy Ripken F-Face card, Keith Comstock, kind of a career minor leaguer, had a little cup of coffee or two in the majors. One of his most famous cards was it 91 Topps, where he's pitching for the Cubs or pitching for the Mariners, and it says Cubs or vice versa. He also had another famous card, and it's when he's played for the Las Vegas Stars with a time where the AAA affiliate of the Padres. He has what they call the Nutshot card. And Robert Sanchez of ESPN.com wrote an article about it. I pulled out some excerpts from the article. It's a lot more in detail than what I have here, but it's worth the read. Some of the highlights. Keith Comstock said, I had so many minor league cards of myself that I was getting bored with them. Plus, it was kind of a downer. You didn't want to be in a minor league set. You wanted to have a big league card. And honestly, another minor league card was a reminder of how my career was going. Finally, it was my turn, and the photographer asked me what I wanted to do, expecting I'd do one of those basic poses. I thought about it for a second, and I came to me. I want to look like a comebacker hits me in the nuts. I said the photographer didn't like that. Sorry, man. The guy said to me, I'm under strict rules. I can't take that picture. I pleaded with him, but the photographer wouldn't budge. One of his teammates said, you're a veteran, and you need to tell all the guys in the clubhouse they shouldn't sign their card contracts unless the photographer allows him to get hit in the ball into the crotch. So many of the guys who were future major leaguers, it was pretty obvious the card company needed them for the sets. So guys on the team, Sandy Alomar, Roberto Alomar, Shane Mack. I think Andy Bennis was on this team because I saw all of these guys in '88 when I was in Wichita. The Pilots, they were the AA affiliate. So there was a ton of future major leaguers. Bruce Bochy was on the team at the very end of his career. And so they did. He went to the clubhouse and said, I went to the clubhouse, told the guys about my idea, and they said they shouldn't. And I said they shouldn't sign their contracts unless I got the picture taken. They didn't hesitate. Pro Cards must have not been too upset about what I did. Sometime after the set's release, I got an 8x10 in the mail from the company. There I am, pinstripe stars hat on, pinstripe stars jersey on, hat on, eyes closed, mouth open, a framed photo, and for years it hung at my house in Arizona in a place that I called my wall of shame. So, Steph always brings this card up, whenever we talk about fun cards. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those classic cards, and it's just awesome now to have the little backstory of how this little famous minor league card was produced. And the fact that he got all these future all-stars and major leaguers behind him when he was just a journeyman minor leaguer really himself. I mean, he played a handful of seasons in the majors, but
well, see, and I'd always thought that, it was one of those where like the cameraman was set up right by standing and waiting, and he had someone toss it, and the camera guy just caught it at the right moment.
yeah.
It goes into the article talking about how he'd found super glue and why the clubhouse had super glue, but he used the super glue to attach it to his pants, and then it stayed in place, but his finger was stuck, so he had to get his finger off. And by the time the cameraman was finally ready to take the shot, the ball was starting to slide off, so he quick posed, and that's what you get.
Yeah.
Is the shot you see.
Yep, it's awesome. It goes back to the cards I found, but Steph in the box you hooked me up with. There was a Fair Hooker, there's a Marion Butts, there was a Rusty Kuntz, and a Pete Lecoq. And
Somebody was having fun that day.
those were all real cards. Yeah, it was fun. Yes.
We keep a box of them for needed trades.
Yeah, it's always good. So Ben had an interesting. You tweeted out a card this week with Matt Olson and Matt Chapman, and there it is. Let's see.
Yes,
Welcome back.
Sorry,
There we go. Sorry,
we're backwards. All right, so it was one of those things that I was looking at the tribute checklist, and I saw that Olsen and Chapman were there, and they're all colored variations, and I saw the green one, and I'm like, I'm gonna spend a little bit more to get the green one because I'm not gonna buy all of these. And I got it in person, and tribute has a slightly thicker stock, and it's just a nice looking card. Yeah, basic relics, but you know what? Who cares? The two best A's, the two Gold Glovers. It's a cool card as an A's collector, so I just threw it out there to share it, and happened to say, cards like this is why I collect. It's not the best card in my collection. It's not my favorite card. It's a cool card that just came. I didn't mean anything by it, other than just gave it something other than, hey, this came today in the mail. That's basically what I was trying to say. This is why I collect. And next thing I know, all of a sudden people are responding, this is why I collect. This is why I collect. And it's all fun and games until our friend Mark Hoyle gets involved, because he's got such stupid awesome cards when it comes to a lot of vintage.
Yeah. So he tweets out the cards that I like. Cards like this is why I collect, and it's just a pile of Ted Williams cards.
It's just one of those like
pile of Ted Williams cards. So some of the responses we got back, the first one that really caught me was that hobby of ours on Twitter, Rich B, said 2 reasons I collect. When my son was born 3 years ago, I started collecting again. I figured it would be a cool thing to do with him as he grew up, to share the love of the hobby and sports. Turns out my daughter loves opening cards with me as well. So bonus. So both his little ones get to hang out and open cards with dad, which is cool. His son's rocking a sick mohawk, which is, the only time you can really pull off a mohawk is like under the age of like 12. Because after that, then people just think like you're a punk. So as a little kid with a mohawk, you're awesome. At J1 Burris said, collecting current products keeps me connected to sports. However, I find older cards tend to remind me of the chapter of my life that corresponds with that period. Dark times and happy moments. Cards have been on the journey with me.
And those are some pretty sweet patches.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a fun one to open up to and go, oh boy. I mean, that's a nice collection.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we collect too.
Cards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. When Upper Deck made product and some of that stuff, you look back and you go, man. And then you see some of the other turds they let out, and you're kind of like, yeah, I could see, At Sean Bryan 89, I collect so that one day I will be able to share stories of my favorite team, Florida State, with my future kids. He's got a team. He's got some of their followings. This is a guy right here, the collegiate product's all about. Like, that's super cool. And he can talk about the university he's very inspired by. So Steph, what cards make you like collect? So Ben shared his. There's the Mark Hoyle cards. is piles of Ted Williams.
He's like the really pretty girl that just comes in to the room after all the other pretty girls came, and they just turn and drop their jaws. It's like,
yeah, and he's like,
Mark.
Then on top of being pretty, she's super smart, knows how to cook.
Yeah,
you know,
well said.
Knows how to change a tire. Like you're like, dude.
But that's what we love about Mark, the fact that we can sit there and salivate and live vicariously through some of his stuff.
Well, that and the fact that he sent me, and I know you guys we shared them off before, but when you send me Sports Illustrated that you received it back in the 70s and the early 80s. Yeah. You know, like so awesome.
If you're on Twitter and you're not following Mark, you should do it like right now.
Yeah, and he collects way differently than a lot of us.
Right.
And has stuff that you might never see. Remember that stand-up? What was the cardboard player, the Red Sox player, like last year we saw? So Steph, let's get back. Why do you collect? What cards get you excited about collecting?
Well, if you couldn't tell by my username, I like extra junky, extra, odd, unique, different, slightly paralleled. What would we call today paralleled cards? And I joked that this is why I collect. But it's not that far off because it fits everything. 1, it's a track card. 2, it's Curvy Cities. 3, it's an oddball photo. Things that you don't see today, thankfully. As far as what the actual photo is, but things you don't see. You get like a super crop shot of a pitcher with the ball. You get a super crop shot of a player hitting a home run, or a super crop shot of this or that. And they were more creative back then, and something maybe they'd get back to someday. Yeah,
the reason I collect one is that I'm looking through here real quick, and I happen to have a pile of 87 tops near me at all times. I love to have 87 tops near me, right?
I have some right over here. I actually just traded for a factory set.
Yes, finally. But what it does is it takes me back to a time when, and it's what Rich B said, something to do with his son as he grows up. My dad and I've talked about this a lot. It's something we did. And it got me really into sports and a lot of things. And so it takes me back to those fun times that he and I had together. And then hopefully I'll be able to share with little Robbie, soon. He tries to come in and grab cards all the time, which is awesome. But no, it just takes me back to fun when I was a kid and hang out with my buddies and, that smell of gum and old stale cardboard. If I've not been when I came back from the National, no one had really been in my office since I left, and I opened the door and this wafting smell of stale cardboard hit me, and I was like, that's a candle I need. I need a Yankee candle of that, like Bed Bath or what's that, Bath and Body Works. You need to make this candle, old stale cardboard, and I'd be so excited. Or 87 tops packs, like make that smell into a candle. It's that, and it takes you back, and you get excited and hanging out with you guys. Like the only reason in the world that I know the two of you is through cardboard. The dude. I would never have met the dude without this, and so, I wouldn't know who I would have gotten to meet Nick and a bunch of other people. And so that's what, collecting has done that's why I collect it. It's so much fun, and it's just a exciting time. So
yeah. What's funny about that before we move on, it was my tweet was so innocent. It wasn't meant. A lot of times I do tweet stuff and I'm combative and argumentative specifically to, incite debate and get us talking. That one was just innocent. Next thing I know, here we are talking about it. I tweeted out later after that, I'm like, had I thought that this was actually going to be a topic people wanted to talk about and share, I think I would have chosen a different card.
Yeah, but it fits your collection. It's two.
It does.
It's the two current stars. Well, two of the current stars on the team. I'd say Laureano is like the third guy now, but it's green. It goes to it's the two corner guys, like the two recognizable players on the team. It's a good card. It's like it doesn't have to be the best card in your collection,
right? And that's what's cool is I like it. I'm a big Sam Cooke fan, and if you were to ask me what my favorite Sam Cooke song was, what am I listening to right now? If I have him on, that's it. As soon as that one ends and the next one comes on, that's my favorite Sam Cooke song.
Whatever the current one playing is.
Yeah, whatever the current. They're all my favorites. Like picking your favorite kid. I mean, which one's not acting up right now? That's mine.
But you're never your dad's favorite kid.
I mean, today, I know we're going to talk about a couple of mail. I think we're talking about mail days here in a little bit, but
spoilers.
It gives you something to look forward to. If you're in the chat room, if you had a mail day recently that you want to share, drop it in the chat room and maybe we'll mention it if we have a chance. But it's one of those things that those are my two new favorite cards. Why? I remember years ago, reporter, I think it was in the 2003 season when the Spurs won the championship. And they asked Tim Duncan afterward, which one was favorite, 99 or 2003? He goes, this one. This one's happening now. I like this one better. And I think we can all empathize. That's how card collecting is. Your favorite card isn't necessarily your favorite card. It's the one you're holding right now. It's the one I just added because it's new. It just came home to meet all of its brothers and sisters.
Yeah. Yep. So earlier we talked about the awesome product that is Chronicles and how I kind of I went a little Ben Wilson and got a little angry because the stupid checklist, I wanted to see, there's a couple checklists of Panini products, and I'm so frustrated the fact that a company consistently every time they had 3 releases this week and they can't produce a checklist for any 3 of them. I don't understand. And so my question is do we accept this practice? Why do we blindly just purchase their products? Is it fear of missing out? Is it loyalty? Is it stupidity? And some people came back and said they don't worry about the checklist. They like to be surprised, right? It goes back to, and I asked Dan from Mojo about this today. I said, hey, does it hurt you guys when you're trying to figure out? And he goes, there's no checklist. You're trying to price teams. He goes, generally by the mid part of the season, we have an idea like what rookies and what players should be on the checklist, and we try to go accordingly. But sometimes it doesn't always work out, and we overprice or underprice, and that's what happens. Which is, it's dumb in this day and age. And I said, with the technology we have, how come they can't? Tops is able to do it like a week in advance. Tops can do it. And so Jenny Miller said, wasn't the checklist a product in the 80s and 90s on individual cards that had to be found in packs so no one do? Yeah, but that was the 80s and 90s. We have technology now. We have the ability to send this out, and then you have tons of people willing to take for no money, put it out into the internet, into the world for you, and give you free advertising. First of all, okay, real quick, Beckett will do it, Cardboard Connection will do it, Trading Card Database, Baseball Cardpedia, the Breakers the Group Breakers Checklist website. We'll do it. There are tons and tons of people that will take their time for free and disseminate your stupid checklist if you could get it out in time. I tweeted out when Ryan Cracknell posted the checklist, hey, thanks, there's finally a checklist. It's only 8 hours before the day this product releases. And he goes, yeah, it would have been out earlier, but there was so many, because it's so stupid of a product and has so many other checklists involved. Anyway, but it's like, why? Just because we accept that practice or we used to not have the technology, should we just keep doing it a certain way? No. We don't look at safety the same way. We don't smoke cigarettes on airplanes anymore. That's what we did in the 80s.
Can't even do it on Netflix.
As a kid on a bike. They have to be geared up beyond belief to ride a bicycle to school now.
Well, lead-based paint, in our next to our crib.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, look at the crappy checklist they gave us for the Fortnite set. Literally, base card 1, base card 2. You couldn't name them? I don't get it. So Steph put out this poll.
I did.
When you look to buy a product, which is more important, brand or checklist? There were 71 votes in 24 hours as a quick poll, because we had to get done for the show. 68% said brand, 32% said checklist. Now,
And
I
43%
understand
price.
and then our buddy Booby, he loves a good deal. 18 packs of Natty Ice for $10, done.
It was
I
$6.
agree.
Thank you.
Brand has a lot to do with it, right? Because like, hey, when I bust like flagship, I'm buying no matter what. Okay, but if you're buying into say something like Origins Football, or you're buying into Topps Tribute, or Topps Dynasty, you're buying into NT, right? You kind of want to know what your thousands of dollars are going into. Just not, well, hey, I mean, even a box of Chrome, it's 125, right? So it's not like oh God, I'm not going to be able to ever, do anything financially again because I spent $125. It's not, $1,200. But it hurts my brain.
Let me first commend you, Tim. I'm going to give you a hand because the way you got fired up is exactly how I like to get fired up. And I was listening to you almost thinking, man, he sounds a lot like me on tonight's show. So I commend you for that. The way I look at Steph's poll is the top half that said brand.
Why are you looking at Steph's poll real quick?
Is that like the fourth "that's what she said" reference we've made tonight?
I think so.
So the Twitter question that had answers and responses to it by clicking on a button before hitting vote. If you said brand, which I did, you're correct. That's the right answer if you're a team or a player collector, because you're gonna buy based on the brand first and foremost. I'm always gonna get my team set because that's how I choose to collect. Others collect that way. If you're a breaker, then the other answer is correct because the checklist is extremely important to you to know who's on that checklist. Even as a team and a player collector, I look for my Mark McGuire's and go, thank God that on Allen and Ginter, he was a Cardinal and not an A. Now I don't have to go get all those parallels. And then, surprise, the mini rip has both the stained glass and in the stained glass, he had both a Cardinal and an A. So all of a sudden, the checklist is important as a secondary, but brand is always important first because if you're not a Ginter person, it doesn't matter what the checklist says. That's not your brand. You're sitting that one out. So it really is kind of two-sided. Are you a collector or are you a breakee in the breaking world? Because that's really going to determine how you'd answer that question. And as far as checklist goes, you're right. We deserve to have these. We've talked about it many times, but we're still going to blindly follow it because that's just what we do.
I'm not going to let it go.
No.
And I think Cardboard Icons had the best. He goes, how are you ever going to get your podcast sponsored? I don't want my podcast, our podcast I'm a part of, sponsored by a company that can't. How do you make a product and you don't know what you made?
Here's the thing. If Panini wants to sponsor About the Cards, please DM us at About the Cards on Twitter. We'd be more than happy to have you as a sponsor. Understand this. We would still if we took your money and said, hey, sponsored by Panini, we would still say we need our damn checklist. And that's why we don't have sponsors like that, because I don't know that any company would allow us the transparency to be open and be passionate about what we want. I mean, we've talked about this too, the monetary side, the budgetary side, right? I'm writing this book, and I just was recently, in fact, the chapter I'm working on talks about a static market versus a fluid market versus a liquid market. We like knowing when we go to the grocery store, milk is going to cost us around $3. Ground beef is going to cost us around, say $4 a pound. Because now when we put together our grocery list, we can give us an idea. The last time I went grocery shopping, I eyeballed it. I was off by 54 cents when everything came through the check stand because I knew what I was buying. And I spent a couple $100. So it wasn't like it was a small amount. What we don't like is, okay, what's the next product coming out? Panini Chronicles, where it's a mismatch of all kinds of crap. I have no idea how much money I should budget for. None until I see that checklist. You know, and then you had crap like Topps Fire last year where it came out, and I think it was last year where I had to buy Canseco, McGuire, Henderson, and Jackson sight unseen. I had no idea what teams those guys were coming. Luckily for me, they were all Oakland A's, but I didn't know until, 4 days after the product? It was like Monday, wasn't it?
Yeah, because it was a retail release. Yeah.
Stupid. And, you know, I didn't even know until Thursday. It came out the previous day, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? So checklists are extremely important, and yeah, technology is why we demand them now, and we have them online now, and we don't wait for surprise like we did back in the 80s. Technology just wasn't there yet. That's all.
So Steph,
that,
I'll let you have some time here because I feel you might have a different take than us.
Well, that's where I was going to get to, was something similar to what Ben was saying. It depends the type of collector you are, how offended you are by what they're doing. And I'll explain that if you're just buying into breaks to get the huge latest hit, the latest Vladimir Guerrero, the Michael Jordan, Sidney Crosby, the huge mega name, you want to know ahead of time, and the person that's breaking that product wants to know a week in advance. What is it? What team do I need to buy? Who are the major stars, and how much is it going to cost? And that's fine. But if you're a team collector or a player collector, you already know that you're going in to buy the Pittsburgh Pirates or the San Jose Sharks or the Minnesota Wild. You already know ahead of time that those are what you're going to get. And you're less offended by the checklist not being out because you already want all of that anyway.
Steph, you remember a few years ago when I first really started listening to you, was you were at the National, at the Topps Q&A, and the Twins weren't in a checklist.
Several. Yes.
Several. So what if you bought into breaks with XYZ breaker and you spent money and the Twins were not in there and you didn't get any cards? It was maybe, say, a higher end product. So not every team gets a card in a higher end product, and you spent $40 to get into it, right? And then you later find out there were no Twins to be had in the entire checklist because the checklist didn't come out until after you bought the break. And it was over.
Two arguments to that. Yes, I get it, and that sucks. But that's why I don't buy until I already know the full checklist, whether it's released a week ahead of time or a week afterwards. I don't buy until I already know what the checklist is, who's on it, and
but you might not get to buy to break that because they're moving on.
I don't buy until release anyway. I usually pick it off secondhand 6 weeks later, a month later.
But I'm saying those guys that are buying it on release day, right? That are hopping into a break maybe to hit the big hit for a cheap price point, plus get their base set or any inserts, and they hop in and their team doesn't have any cards in there. Okay, that's what's frustrating is it's like Steph, like they had to have put a checklist together when they made the set to find the photos, the jerseys, the autographs to know. Yeah. So how do you not have this available? Even if it's on Friday, the Friday before the product comes out on that Wednesday, how is that? I just don't understand how that's possible.
It shouldn't be possible. And we've been harping on this for 6 months easily. Yeah. That it's been a major issue. You know, one issue sure here, one release there, but
I can understand that.
And that's to Ben's point. You know, if we're going to take a sponsorship from a company or whoever, we want to know that we can address what you're doing good and what you're doing bad. And you know, you have this good, you have that horrible. Let's address both. So yeah, Panini's fucking up on checklists. I'll be the first to admit it. At the same time, they also have a few good products, and at the same time, they have good PR. At the same time, they really need to have these out a week prior, or a couple days at least.
Anyway, all right. I'm sorry, guys. I borrowed Ben's soapbox, and I was extra tall on it because Ben has to get an extra tall soapbox, so he's almost normal size.
I have a booster thing that I stand on so I brush my teeth. That way I can see above and actually get to the water. So thank you.
So do you have to have bringing that pillow that you sit on in the car?
I do, but that's also because they feel nice.
Or you got phone books.
I can't wait. Till Saturday.
Saturday's gonna be epic.
Real quick. So mail day. Recent mail days were received. We haven't talked about this in a while. Steph, I'm gonna let you lead off, bud.
Sure. I would play the mail intro from Eurotrip, but I don't have it handy.
You've got mail.
But not quite. But no, I mentioned them last week that I'd bought 2 of the 3 remaining 52s that I needed, and I'd left one out as a surprise, and I tweeted it as a show preview earlier this week. I'm trying to find where the pictures went. That I got something else in the mail, and that's the point of the segment.
By the way, Steph, I really like that logo. Your new Twins, your Junk Wax Twins logo. That's handsome.
And it's screen shared. You want to pop me? PWE for life. Nick. Multiple different colors, except he kind of skipped out on the dash part. But these came in the mail. Where'd it go? Signed by the photographer of them.
Oh, that's awesome.
So now I just need to send them to Polanco Rosario again, and my twin Williams to have double signed.
That's awesome, and hands down, Nick is probably one of the nicest dudes. Because of Once a Cub, that's how we found Nick. We had him on the show, and then all of a sudden we instantly became friends. And he's such a nice guy, and wonderful. And so I know he also hooked up Zoe. If you don't know her, she's a card collector with her dad at Cartel Cards, Chris, and he sent her. She's a huge Brett Gardner collector, and he took a picture of Brett Gardner's 2018 Topps Fire card, so he sent her that card autographed as well today. Lou Sleeter and Jim Busby.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if Jim's related to Steve Busby, the former Royals pitcher.
Could be.
Could be his dad. Yeah, because he was in the 70s, and he would have been really good, but he had a lot of arm injuries. Ben, I know you already showed off your Chapman and Olsen, but
yeah, I got a couple cool cards. One I want to throw a shout out for this National Baseball Card Day. Matt Chapman, that our friend James Kikowski, who's been on the show, might be, writing something up for the About the Cards website. We're not sure yet. He said he might have a hockey related article, so possible sneak peek there. But
you find a guy that gets pretty excited about stuff.
Oh, me and James, we're like,
you guys are separated at birth, my friend.
Man, I thought the hatred runs deep in him. I love him. Find him
through you.
Find him at Philly Puck Fan. He's a great dude. He sent me that.
He's on the show before as well.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal dude. But I got these actually today. Topps Chrome Green. I don't know how well the color's coming in, but I also have the base version of this. It's a McGuire relic. These were the case hits. And then I finally was able to snag a Faces of the Franchise from Flagship gold out of 50. I have all the other colors, so that was the only one that I was missing. So excited to add those to the PC.
Nice. A couple cool things. I put the cards away. I forgot to grab them, but our buddy Joey Dub sent me a awesome little surprise mail day. It Brandon Crawford from Allen and Ginter jersey relic, and then from Topps Finest is a Brad Keller rookie autograph. And just because those are my teams, and he goes, "Hey, these cards belong to you," and sent them my way. I thought that was cool. Also, last week one of the other podcasts, Go GTS Live, had something, and I retweeted, and it was for their show. And I got this in the mail today. Won The Miz autograph from Topps. I don't remember what release this is from, but it's out of 25 autograph of The Miz and some wrestling. So that came today. But a purchase I made just based on Ryan Cracknell. So remember last week we talked about what's his name, Aristides Aquino of the Reds, the guy that just bashes home runs, and how he only had the autograph and Bowman, and then he had like a real quick from Brett Howard. Busby is a cousin. Steve and Jim Busby are cousins. Oh, nice. Yep. He played for the Billings Mustangs in 2014, and they had team sets for $10. So I picked up 2 team sets, and they came today. And here's his card. So yeah, he had I think Elite Extra Edition. He had base cards. Bowman, he had an autograph, and then this is a minor league card of his. So I have 2 of them. So kind of quiet on the mail days. I picked up some. I try to pick up some base rookies every now and then. So a few Pete Alonsos have made their way into the collection as well. Should have been on our fantasy team, Ben.
Okay, you know what? Go ahead.
I was right, huh?
You were right on that, but
So right.
Hang on, timestamp that as well. 11:26.
Anyway, as we're it's nice we're hitting just under an hour of the show. But guys, do you have anything else any final thoughts before we head out tonight?
yeah, real quick, since you mentioned our most mediocre friend that we possibly can know, and Joey, dub mentality, he sent me this week along with a couple of Donruss Optic. We're backwards on this camera, so it's kind of throwing me off. But Stephen Piscotty auto.
Oh, in an A's uni? That's got to be one of your first Piscotty A's cards, right? Autos?
Yeah, I think it's like the third. They're so far. I think they're all Panini. In fact, I'd have to go back and look.
Yeah.
But Dub is fantastic.
Such a sweetheart.
I mean, in the most adequate and average scale of 1 to 10, he's literally 5, not 4.9, not 5.1.
I will add something to that. If you want to watch, he lives through some breaks of a guy just opening boxes. Follow him on Periscope. He's opening like once a week or so product, but like the other week last week he was opening up 80, 97, 90, 97, 98 Top Stadium Club, which was my senior year in high school, and took me just back. And it was a great rip. It was so much fun just to hang out and watch him pull. You're getting Jordan and all the guys back then. It was just fun to see that product. So if you're not, you need to check him out on Periscope. Love it, Periscope. We're on there right now. Hey, Periscope. So anything final thoughts from you tonight, Steph?
Hey, Angela, anything?
Any breaking news, Angela?
No breaking news.
Next week.
Oh, teaser. Oh, so God, you remember how I teased how I almost got kicked out of the Tops? I'm banned from Tops. I never told the story from the National. I thought I did that night. So I don't know if you guys felt this way. When we came back from Chicago, I felt like I'd come back from outer space. I wasn't like I physically and mentally was not right for a few days because of just overstimulation. What's up?
You had the con plague.
Yes. And so we did the show and I forgot I didn't last week. And so we went to the Tops Q&A and we went as media members, and we were there with Mike Summer and Steph and Angela and I were there. And then all the other folks, we were sitting with Val from NASCAR Radio. And so there was only 150 people that were on the list that got in, and we were not on the list, but we got to go in because we had our little media credential. So we do the Tops Q&A and stuff, and they're giving away prizes to people to have like raffle tickets, and we don't have raffle tickets because again, we're media. So we're like some of the last people leaving the ballroom or whatever the little room they had it in. And so I don't know where Steph and Angela went. They were off talking to some folks at Tops or some other randos in there, but it was really only Tops employees left. And then Mike and I and like two other people that were in the Q&A. As we're leaving, they're like, hey, by the way, do you guys want a bag? Because they had these Tops bags. And Mike and I are like, well, sure. Because there was a ton of them on this table, and we looked around, and it was all real Tops employees. So we grab a bag, and I was like, oh, that's cool, And then they hand us a card. I go, oh, here you go, too. And oh, okay. It's a 1986 Vert Tops Pete Alonso autograph numbered out of 50. And we end up finding there's like 3 variations. There's 50 of each one, so 150 for all the people there. And so we end up with one autograph cards because they had like a stack of them left.
So we finished talking.
Yeah, Mike and I go outside. We're hanging out.
Me and Angela finished talking to Clay, VP Product Development at Tops, asking him a couple questions about this, that, and the other.
Really that important.
And Sue stops us and says, I saw your co-host and his friend grab a card, with the media passes. They're not supposed to do that, right? Like, I didn't see it, but they knew that. I don't know what happened. I'll go ask them. It's like, well, no, don't worry about it. It's just I saw them. I'm a mother. I got eyes behind my back. I see everything. So I go and tell Tim, I'm like, you're in trouble.
The one gal I don't want to be in trouble with because she's like the nicest person.
She is. Well, and I tell him what had happened, and then he went back. And
I go back, give the cards back to Suze. We go, oh my God, we're embarrassed. We kind of described the situation, and she said, no, it's okay. But the card is still ugly to me and has a bad taste in my mouth, and it's sitting in a box. And
for $1.
No, I can't. It's got bad juju on it. I don't want to spread it. So anyway, and I think I might be banned from any future Topps events or things that they have. So, but I finally told the story. Hey, what's up, Dan? Dan hopping in.
You know what's funny about that is if you're familiar with what are they all, the Conjuring movies, the Ed and Lorraine Warren story, where they've got that room in their house where everything is behind glass, and we can't touch the Annabelle doll because it's cursed. I think where those Pete Alonsos need to be is in their museum, just so that they never get into any private collector's collection, and then all of a sudden they're cursed.
Yep.
And their PC might just combust on its own and blow up into flames because you guys hoodwinked Topps at the National.
Now, to be fair, we went back in, and like you said, he tried to give them off.
Once you're the hoodwinker, it doesn't matter, dude. You already.
She stops us and she's like, "You guys want some notebooks or a backpack, or we have plenty of extras, and you guys are the only ones left." So I mean, you could have had a backpack. You had to have a cursed card.
But that's what we thought. Like they meant when we were leaving. Hey, there's nobody else left. There's cards here. Do you want one? That's how I took it. But anyway, remember we're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 Central on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe and review to our show on all platforms. You can always follow us on Twitter about the cards. Follow Ben at Our Trading Cards. You can follow Steph at Junkwax Twins. Follow me at Big Shep 79. Share your hobby stories and great pulls. Send your questions our way. And don't forget to check out our shop on Spreadshirt.com. Just search About the Cards, and you should find it there. Guys, keep collecting. We will see you next week, and thanks for hanging out with us on on this episode of About the Cards. We will talk to you next week. See you.
See you then.